think there are a lot of people right now who are uncomfortable with where they are in their career. And, a lot of us, especially millennials, have been fed this idea that you go to college and you get a career and you work your way through that career, and it's basically just smooth sailing until retirement. And then we're supposed to value financial stability and think for the future, plan for the future. And a lot of things have sort of turned that on its head recently. And by the way, this is just kind of an off the cuff video. I didn't prepare for it, but some things that I've been thinking of for a long time. I graduated in 2009 at age 25 with an accounting degree, and um, it was not very smooth sailing. If I had graduated 20 years prior, I probably would have been in a job with a pension, you know, just kind of a job where you have to work hard, but it's pretty predictable, and you kind of just move through it and move through life. And, things are more financially predictable. And, the age before me, the generation before me, I think it was entirely possible for one person in the household to work and everybody else to, the mother to be a housewife, and they could live in a decent house and, without even a college degree in most cases. Factory work, the husband might work a factory job and no one else in the household works. That's all changed in the past, 20 to 30 years. Um, and the pandemic has kind of brought all of this to a head, I think. And I know plenty of people who are my age, or at least I know of people who have degrees and don't use them. They work in some other field, or they are working in a service job, like at a restaurant or something. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's kind of shows you what we've become, how things have changed, and wealth inequality, the disappearing of the middle class over time has created some situations that are very difficult and have really high social costs. We think about the cost of housing, the unbelievable cost of daycare, student loans. When you get out of school and you're supposed to have this great job and be doing well, except you're buried in student loan debt, and you're pressured by that time. You're pressured to have kids, and well, what your mom doesn't know, who's pressuring you to have kids, what she doesn't know is that the real cost of daycare has skyrocketed since the last time that she had to deal with that, and maybe she didn't have to at all because her husband was able to provide for the whole family, and she didn't have to work. Nothing against her. Being a stay-at-home mom is certainly a hard job, but I think the previous generation has a difficult time understanding what's going on right now. And again, I didn't do a ton of research on this. It's just something that I've been thinking about and wanted to kind of get off my chest in this video. But this article, older millennials made it to management. Now they're wondering if they even want to be the boss. It's just kind of talking about what's going on with millennials. Uh, says the reality is that many millennials went to college at a time when education costs soared and graduated into a financial recession that gave them limited career opportunities to pay off their student loans, let alone save for other financial milestones. So, and basically, this talks about how all the wealth has gone to the top 1%. Basically, I think it's interesting that China is known for their workaholic culture. This article, they call it the 996 culture, where they basically work from 9 to 9, 6 days a week, and how they don't really give any numbers on this. I've seen several articles about this, and I don't know what the statistics are, but they just say that it's a trend, that there is a new group of people in this newer generation that are embracing the lie flat movement, and whatever the Chinese version is of that. It's basically about um, slacking off, so to speak, and not uh, joining the rat race. And if that's happening, obviously that's going to, I think, raise the wages in China, or lower the output, right? One of those or the other, or both, I would think. So that might be one small reason why we're seeing higher prices on Chinese imports. And I know that there are tariffs as well. But um, I mean, if this leads to less human suffering, then I'm all for paying higher prices in that case. And you see these strikes going on right now. If that leads to product shortages, if that leads to higher prices, you know, if if that ends up with more empower and a more empowered workforce with less human suffering, then I'm willing to spread the suffering around a little bit if it means that people, working class people, middle income people, are able to provide for themselves a little better, or have uh, you know a better work life balance. But anyway, these are just some of the things that I've thought about for a long time. I'm a good example. I started with a degree in accounting, and I worked almost 9 years in mostly in jobs that I hated. There were a couple of years that I thought were okay, but I started the mobile auto repair business. Obviously, that's something that I don't have any formal training in, but I think if you talk to my customers, you would see that I'm doing very well with it. I have, excellent reviews. But it was something that I enjoyed doing as a hobby, and try to turn it into a business. And with my wife's help, I couldn't do it without her, but with her help, I am slowly turning this into a full time income. And but it's just interesting how the way things are right now has caused people to have to branch out and do things that they wouldn't normally do. I'm sure there are plenty of Instacart shoppers who have bachelor's degrees, and they never thought that with a bachelor's degree they would be, getting groceries for people. But hopefully, all of this ends up empowering the working class, and hopefully, like it seems like if you read it in the news, it seems like with all the strikes and all of these companies hiring, it seems like the power is now with the worker, and in my opinion, that's where it always needs to be. Um, but I hope that the pandemic has also caused people to have a shorter uh, frame of time, where they think more in the short term, because thinking in the long term is great, but if you're dead next week from COVID, then thinking long term didn't really help you much. You just postponed all of your hopes and dreams for retirement when you're too old to enjoy them. But hopefully, um, the pandemic has caused people to think more about what really matters in life, and to be around their families more, and to not just be in the rat race. Hopefully, um, it causes people to realize that, hey, you shouldn't look down on a person for what kind of job they have. You should, if they have a job, that's great. Especially, uh, like the saying goes, "Dirty hands, clean money." Hopefully, through all of the financial crisis and everything over the past 20 years or whatever, hopefully people can slowly start to see that, you know, dirty hands, clean money, to some extent, that's a good saying, that we shouldn't put all the value on people that go to college and claw their way up the top, and step on anybody that's in their way. But we should value people for just for who they are, and not for what they do for a living. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but these are just some of the thoughts that I've had recently about all of this stuff.